Hello, and welcome to Plastic Talk. I'm Amelia Hanson, project coordinator at Plastic Pollution Coalition, and today I'm speaking with educator, activist, and award-winning author of Watershed, Attending to Body and Earth in Distress, Ranae Hanson, aka my mother. Welcome, Mom.
Hey, Amelia, delighted to be here.
Great. So today, for this family affair, we're going to be talking about plastic-free holidays. We'll share with you some of our long-standing plastic-free family traditions and gifting practices, as well as new ones we've incorporated since we've both become more involved with Plastic Pollution Coalition. Hopefully, we can give you some fresh holiday ideas that can become traditions in your household as well. Now, Mom, as I recall, growing up, we've always been a refill and reuse family, putting care for the earth first, buying in bulk, and always refilling the same olive oil bottle for years at our local co-op. So can you give our listeners an idea of your background and upbringing that informed this lifestyle?
I'll try. I was lucky enough to grow up in the North Woods of Minnesota. We lived a maybe halfway subsistence lifestyle. In the 60s, my mom and dad were early health food fanatics, they were called, and do-it-yourself oddballs, kind of early hippies. They made a garden in the woods where we grew much of our food. We got a lot of the rest of it foraging for berries in the woods, and we took down trees to heat our house with wood. There wasn't much plastic then at all.
Yeah.
And we lived just fine. Since we didn't buy prepared food, we made everything at home. Mom made the bread, I made the butter. We just didn't take part in the early food comes in plastic revolution. And then when I moved to England for my junior year of college, and that was the first time I had to buy food from grocery stores, I used cotton string bags, you know, those expandable ones?
Yeah.
To bring home my food. Everybody else did too. And they were really cool and they didn't take up much room. And by the time you kids joined me, I'd moved next to a co-op where we could buy most things in bulk in St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah.
That helped.
And that's what I always remember. And, you know, I think about the olive oil jar a lot because it's like, oh, it was one brand, but we were filling it with whatever bulk olive oil
Right.
there was. And that just seemed like a normal thing to me growing up. Like
It was normal.
You measure the bottles, you get the tear, and then it's nice to have that just be an ingrained thing and have the more consumer driven stuff be something you learn later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And all of that too informed your book, Watershed, as well. So can you tell our audience a little bit about the book, which just won the Minnesota Book Award for Best Memoir Narrative Nonfiction?
Yeah, Watershed is probably best described as a meditation on the intimate connection between the health of the body and the health of the earth. It's that, but it's also a love song to the Minnesota waters that sustained me for my whole life, and to my immigrant and refugee students who are telling their own stories, but asked me to tell some of their stories to get them out to audiences that I could. Stories of searching for clean water once climate change and pollution dried up their home rivers and lakes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's I'm obviously a little biased as I am even in the book myself, but
You are.
it's a very lovely book. And we will have a discount code for the book that we're going to share with the blog attached to this interview. I'll also share that code at the end because I think it's an excellent gift for earth lovers and book lovers in your life. So, and on that note, let's start talking about gifts. So one of the biggest things when it comes to thinking of plastic-free gifting is the wrapping paper that makes it the gift. You know, the bows, the baubles, tape. A lot of the wrapping papers are made or lined with plastic, and that makes them non-recyclable. It fills our landfills every year with piles and piles of discarding wrapping. And I know, Mom, that's always been something that has bothered you. So talk about some of the traditions you always had for us when it came to wrapping presents.
We always saved the wrapping paper. That was part of what my dad did. He made us crazy by carefully cutting the tape on all wrapping paper and folding it up so we could use it the next year.
Yeah.
But so we always had a bag of bows, ribbons, papers, and we had to use those before we bought new things. But
Yeah,
today
we always had that too. We had like a crate in the basement you go into, and there's the bag of the old bows, and we always had to use those before I could buy any new ones. And back then, I always wanted to buy the new ones because they have the fresh sticking and they're shinier and not folded. But I appreciate it a lot more now
Yeah.
than I used to. That's for sure.
But now we just buy this giant roll of brown crepe paper and
Yeah.
we use it and use it and use it.
Yeah, and I find, at first, I think the first year, Josiah, who is my brother, instituted that, it seemed a little weird because you're like, oh, they're all just brown packages. But then it also does make that uniformity. That's kind of nice. Like it does give you that kind of picture perfect Christmas tree in a way when they're all just brown paper packages, literally tied up in string. There's something kind of romantic about it. And then we just personalize it with the way we write people's names, or I'll always use the scraps of paper to fold and make my own little tags. And you just heard about a new tag thing from someone as well.
Yes, my phlebotomist today told me that she's learning origami paper folding to secure the packages so she doesn't have to use any plastic tape, which seems like something I could learn to do.
Yeah, tape is definitely something I think of because I know we like to sometimes use the crate paper too as like fire starter if you have the pieces that don't have the tape, but that can be a tricky thing. You don't want to burn plastic, and then you have to be very careful with which pieces. But if you're just folding it, or I've recently thought about, let's try and institute some plastic-free tapes. They do exist. And that's something that's just safer for everyone.
Yeah, and I found, Amelia, that when we started with this brown paper wrapping, then people began decorating them with handwriting and with pictures, really nice pictures, and it makes the other way look not as fancy, not as desirable as our brown things.
And I've had different twines. Last year, I brought a red and white one, so then I can use the nice, my presents have the like candy cane twine and use the strings. Or I don't think we've done it yet, but I've seen other people in blogs about plastic-free gifts where they add sprigs of, trees or holly that they tie in there, and it gives it a little extra pop. Going plastic-free gets you to be creative in a fun way.
And to return to old traditions like stringing cranberries or popcorn, and this isn't wrapping, but this is for decorating, stuffing oranges with cloves, and there's all kinds of wonderful things you can do. Your aunt, Heidi, my sister, has just told me that she's using old music books and turning them into decorations, which is really cool because you can get the title of songs as something on a little star that you can hang up. Or she's going to come up with really cool things from
I feel
old
like
books.
that could even be cool for making like snowflakes.
Yes.
Because it makes
she said
them, you can have musical snowflakes around.
Yeah, and you can make wreaths and all kinds of things. And there are all these old books that need to be used for something.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah, it's much better to use them as decor.
Yeah. There was a bad thing I did. I bought a fake tree thinking that I would save real trees when I was worried about it.
I think I pushed for the fake tree too. I remember that tree.
Did you? Yeah.
I think there was a time where setting up a real Christmas tree could cause a lot of tension in the family.
Right.
I remember just getting tired of the fights of trying to make sure the tree's balanced, because that is that can cause some family tension. And I think with also thinking the fake trees might help save more trees, drove us both to meeting in that space of, if we get this one little fake tree that we can use over and over again. But I think a lot of studies now have found that it's actually much better to buy the real Christmas trees because they're grown for that. They replant new ones, and if you're buying fake ones, it's gonna go in the trash eventually, no matter how long you use it. Eventually,
there's
go in the trash.
Good way. No good way of getting rid of it. I did give mine away in the curb-free store.
So hopefully they haven't thrown it away
finally.
yet. Yeah.
But don't get those.
No. And it's nice. I know, again, the house where we have Christmas, we have a nice fireplace. And so then Josiah will just saw the tree up and we can burn it in the fireplace. Or when we used to have Christmases up north, and you can have a nice fire outside in the winter and warm yourself up with your Christmas tree when you're done with it.
Yeah, I know. And we love it. And fires are not good for the climate. So I'll just say that. But
Yes, but
we're
than
not
burning
perfect.
plastic.
And nobody
Nothing's
is going to
perfect.
be perfect. We got
Exactly.
to have celebrations.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So now let's move on to, what goes inside the gifts, because you can be plastic free in your wrapping, but if everything you're wrapping up is plastic, it only goes so far. So let's talk about some of the ways that we've gotten into getting away from plastic in our gifting. I know for me, one of the things I'm thinking about a lot is last year I got mesh produce bags for Christmas, and it reminds me how much just giving and getting reusables is fun, because it's something you're going to use in your everyday life, and then you can think of that person more and be like, oh, I'm really glad Patrick gave me these mesh bags, and I feel cool in the grocery store putting my stuff in something that I can reuse and not having to struggle with those thin little plastic bags. And I get compliments from the cashier saying, oh, I love, these mesh bags your stuff is in. And it feels nicer. And then the gift lasts, and the feeling of the gift lasts when it's a reusable and not something you throw away.
Right. And there's always the concern when you give a gift that the person might not like it, might never use it. Mm-hmm. I'm planning this year to give people starter things of non-plastic stuff, like non-plastic laundry things from the one place you told me about that doesn't have microplastics in it.
Yeah. Blue Land has no PDAs. They're really great in a coalition.
Yeah. And if I give it to somebody and they don't use it, nothing bad has happened. Mm-hmm. Whereas if I buy something plastic and they don't use it, multiple bad things have happened.
Yeah.
So I figured this is just a really good option. So
and a lot of people aren't going to think of asking for the reusables or buying them for themselves, because for some people it's even just that step of going out and buying this thing that might be more expensive than the plastic version. That's the little barrier. But if they give it as a gift and they're like, oh, it is great and I will use it forever, and I might not have thought of it. Or you just gave me one thing I didn't even know existed as a plastic-free kitchen thing, which is that vegetable crisper bag that you gave me for my birthday.
Isn't it great?
It's so cool. It's this thicker fabric bag that you put your carrots or your lettuce in, and you get the lettuce a little wet, you get the bag a little wet, and it keeps it fresher and crisper in your crisper drawer than, if you buy your romaine in plastic bags and it stays in that, it's going to just spoil inside of there. And this keeps the life in there, and it's really nice.
Yeah, that was fun giving you that one.
Yeah, I like that one a lot. We also do a lot of
handmade things.
Yeah, we do a lot of handmade gifts. I got into embroidery 2 years ago. So last year for Christmas, I made embroideries for nearly everyone. And the two family members that didn't get one last year are probably getting one this year.
Yeah.
I felt better. 1 year, my sister-in-law made watercolors for us all. And it's a way, it can take a lot more time than the money that you can spend quickly to buy a gift, but there's so much more, it means so much more to know someone put time into something,
right,
than just threw money at something to get it there quickly. And to
give, one person in our gift family often makes cookies for everybody, each person's favorite choice, and then you don't have to share them all, or you can. And she may make homemade cough drops, because we were complaining together about how cough drops come wrapped in so much plastic. But there are recipes for making your own, and we always need paper.
Yeah, because it's in a plastic bag, and the wrappers, even if they look like paper, often it's lined with plastic. And who knows how much leaches in if they get hot? Who knows? And
then there are
things you don't think about.
Yeah. Then there are things you can give, which one is I may ask for like, help me figure out how to use all the various TV things and how can I watch on my computer and how can I hook it to this big screen. And when I'm all alone, I never have time to watch TV, but I keep hoping to have time. And I would like a gift of 1 hour of a patient person showing me how to connect to Hulu and YouTube and all the other cool things.
Yeah, so then you can see our work on, you can see the shows that are flipping the script on plastic as well.
That's right.
I know I tell you a lot about these great
screen.
shows that are doing the work, and it'd be awesome if you could watch that more.
Yeah.
Sure.
So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I've done
watch them on my phone. I know.
Yeah, I've done gifts like that for you in the past too, and I think non-physical gifts are a really, really great plastic-free way to go. One year, my gift to you was to paint your bathroom because I knew you wanted it painted, and that's something, a lot of people, your older relatives might not think to ask for these things all the time, at least as a gift. You can go home and your parents are like, oh, we should sort through these things and I'd love help with this. And it can feel like bogging from both ends. Like you're nagging and then the family can feel like, I just want to be here on a vacation. But if you can make it like a gift,
I think it
feel nicer for both sides.
So many parents of my generation would love it if people of your generation would go home and give the gift of 2 hours of sorting everything that I left in my childhood closet and taking it away.
Yeah.
You'd make so many people happy.
Yeah. And it costs you nothing too.
Right. Yeah.
And we love gifts that cost no, physical money. Cost labor,
and create a lot of happiness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. And you can do things like giving to the Plastic Pollution Coalition some donation.
Mm-hmm.
And that would make my daughter happy.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Any nonprofit donation will go a long way. So
yes.
Sometimes that can feel, I know sometimes it's nicer to get something that you can feel as a gift. It depends. It definitely depends on the person if you can give a contribution or not.
Mm-hmm.
But
it does.
Yeah.
But then giving experiences is a really important thing. Yes. We've done that.
We have. We've done that a lot. The same family member that likes to make cookies, the other big thing she typically likes to do for us is a group experience. Right before the pandemic, we all went to Ben de la Creme and Jinx Monsoon's holiday drag show, which was fantastic. And that
was great.
And it was something that Elise, the one who gave it to us, she probably wouldn't have ever gone to something like that on her own. But because she knew some of us were interested in it, she got the idea and it gave a new experience for all of us, which was really great.
And it was great to do it together.
Yeah. Yeah. You have that shared experience. Or my father a few years ago got me, my sister and him a tour of Paisley Park. And we did the VIP tour for the Christmas. And that was an amazing experience to just be in Prince's home and nothing, something I would always dream of, but you're like, well, it's a little too frivolous to just buy that for myself. And I think that's what a lot of people think with these sorts of experiences, especially nowadays. There's a lot to go through your mind in thinking of, an experience, if a concert's worth it physically, worth the COVID risks, things like that. But if someone else can give it to you, then you don't have to go through as many mental gymnastics and can experience it a bit more.
And there's the quieter thing. Amelia once gave me 2 novels that she'd read. I think you read them in Ireland or someplace.
Yeah.
And it was really nice to be able to read something that she'd read and loved, and it was a used book, and it was great because it was her used book.
Yeah, that's like regifting. And I think, sometimes regifting gets a dirty, it sounds like a dirty word a lot of the time, like, oh, you're giving someone something somebody gave you. But especially when it comes to books, I think it's a really great thing. Because I had been studying abroad and I took an Irish literature class and I purchased pretty much all of the books that I read. And then of the books I really liked, I didn't really want to get rid of them, but I knew I probably wasn't going to read them again. And, you're thinking, oh, should I bring all these heavy books back with me from England? But then I was like, well, if I love them so much, why not give them to people I think would enjoy reading them? And I just turn those
Especially,
books around into gifts.
yeah, especially a mother who is far away from you and loves reading something knowing you read it. And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
just a lot of heart in these kinds of gifts too.
Yeah, it's a shared experience when you give someone something that you've read, or even if it's a previously loved treasure, which is another thing we've done, is giving items
Yeah,
that maybe you would think would be like willed to someone, but it's kind of nicer to give them when everyone's still alive. A
yeah.
lot of
My
the time.
mom did a good job giving you kids her bowls and treasured things. She handed them out in her 80s and early 90s instead of leaving it for us to fight over them. Or
Yeah, and then she gets
yeah,
to see the love that they, the appreciation of those items instead of hoping that the person will appreciate them when she was gone.
right. Yeah.
And you've done the same for us too. You gave me your antique silverware set and
All
some
right.
lovely dishes. I think that's the thing. If your family's asking for dishware or decor and it's something that you might have as a hand-me-down that you're holding on to, well, are you using it as much as the person who needs this will? And maybe you can give it up earlier than you expected because someone's going to love it and use it a lot more now than you just having it sitting in a china cabinet.
If you can give something that already exists, you already have, that you don't have to buy, that doesn't get made and isn't plastic, you're also giving the person a gift of a better future for
Hmm.
all of us. And that just means a lot.
Yeah, you're not creating trash out of your treasures because too,
Hmm.
if you hold on to all of them for so long, then there's also too many for people to appreciate them when it comes to an estate sale later. The ones that mean more to you could easily get lost if you're not there to say this dish is from
Yeah.
my great aunt's wedding and it means something for you to keep it. When it's just with a pile of everything else and no one to inform it, they can get lost and
Hmm.
then some of the treasures just become trash if you're not thinking
Right.
of them as
Yep.
gifts earlier on.
Hmm. Well, it'll be fun this year to continue this and see what else we can do.
Yeah, yeah. And I know we already have some people thinking of less wasteful, less plastic driven ways. One of our family members is living in a new weird, quirky town. And so she's just going to go to the thrift stores and the secondhand shops and find unique things there. And I think that's something we all need to get back into doing more too, because it's so
Yeah.
easy and convenient to do all your shopping on Etsy or even on Amazon on the websites and just browse specifically what you want. But when you go to a small town thrift store, there's going to be things you'd never thought of that will scream someone's name and you can find them. And I think especially with the pandemic, we lost a bit of that spark to do that because it's just we gave way to a lot of convenience in the last
Hmm.
years because we had to. But now that we can get out again a bit more safely, you know, why not go out? And if you take a day trip to a weird small town, then think of the holidays or the birthdays that are coming up. And if there's something there that could become a treasure to someone else in your family.
Yeah. My sister gave me, and then I gave you one, Amelia, from originally 10,000 Villages, but they're made by Bangladeshi women out of old saris using traditional
Oh, the
sewing
napkin.
patterns. And they're napkins that are beautiful and
Yeah.
each one unique. And you can use them forever instead of paper towels that also come wrapped in plastic.
Yes, and
So,
I love that, and I've already asked for more since for my birthday I just got one, so now I need
yes,
a
we
whole
need
set for
more.
Christmas. Yeah,
Yes.
yes, you can
Yeah.
you can also tease people by giving them just one of a cool gift to make sure they like it for a
Yeah.
smaller event, and
Mhm.
then give them more. Make sure people will like them. It's always safe, I think, to test the waters with small gifts to make sure you're on the right path. There's nothing
That's
wrong with
right.
that. We do, our family still does make Christmas lists, but half of us veer off of it anyway. I don't think my
Mhm.
brother's bought anyone something from their list for at least the last 5 years, but we all know he's not going to, and he has his specific gifts for people. But it's nice to know you can say, if you don't have an idea, here's the things I want, but you're also
Mhm.
free to give your own ideas and surprise me. And then
Just so
you're
long as
sure
it doesn't have
my
plastic.
excitement. Yes, as long as it doesn't have plastic. We,
Yep.
every year we encourage less and less waste in our Christmases, less and less plastic. We've even switched from, we used to drink a lot of sparkling water in bottles at holidays, but then we switched to doing just iced tea regularly in reusable pitchers, and it's just as refreshing. And then you change up the flavor a lot more. There's,
Mhm.
little things that we even do in our cooking. And again, we've mentioned the bulk buying that carries over a lot. Now that my brother has a big pantry, they can buy their spices in bulk and buy meat in bulk. So you're using a lot less wrapping if you can put it in a deep freezer. And it goes into every part of the holidays, not just the gifting.
And all of the holidays, no matter what they are.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So I can't wait to see you,
Yes.
and
Yes.
we can do our celebration.
Yes. Thank you so much, Mom, for talking to me about all the things holidays. I am very excited for us to get together and make more traditions and continue our traditions.
Yeah.
And for our listeners, if you'd like to order Watershed for yourself or as a gift, you can visit RanaeHanson.com. That's Ranae and Hanson with an O, like the band, for more info on the book. And you can use code MN89870 for 30% off of your purchase. Thank you so much for listening to Plastic Talks today.
Thank you for listening to Plastic Talks. If you enjoyed this interview, please like and subscribe. This program was made possible by the generous donations from our supporters worldwide. If you would like to hear more interviews with experts and activists and would like to support our work, please visit plasticpollutioncoalition.org.